So before we start, given that we're going to be talking about the future, I just wanted to ask a show of hands, just to see how many of you are using voice-activated apps, like Siri, for example. Anybody in the audience? Right, so a few of you. Okay. Have any of you got a virtual assistant at home named Alexa from Amazon? A few of you, right? Okay. So given that these things really have only come to pass in the last couple of years, it's interesting to see that already just within this audience, what do we get there? Maybe 5% of the audience are actually currently using this sort of technology. And the content that's going to power this sort of technology is really going to be important to all marketeers in the future. And how do we use this sort of technology? So the first question to the panel is, how is content marketing going to enable us to connect with the connected consumer?
I think any new technology, whether it's VR, AI, or even the web when it came along, or even apps, it's about how do we bring that into the storytelling narrative that we're trying to involve our audiences in. If we're going to put VR or AI into our storytelling narrative, how does that enhance the storytelling power that we then take to our audiences? I think there's a danger, sometimes we focus on the tech and we lose the storytelling power. And it doesn't matter how much technology develops in the future, we are inherently a species that loves storytelling.
Moving into the next couple of years, there's been a huge increase in the amount of personalised content. So I wondered if you might be able to just give us some examples of some great personalisation. I know you did some fantastic work with Barclays, Mark, in terms of personalised content.
Yeah, that's right. So last year we did a campaign with Barclays where basically it was part of their kind of banking their customer, and they had a lot of obviously data on all their customers. So we basically created a film around a kind of new, a kind of onboarding solution essentially. So it's an onboarding film for new customers, and through the technology we managed to personalise every single video that went out through another partner that we work with. So everybody who received an email with their name, the minute they clicked play in the email, that video rendered in real time and basically came out with their name. So, hello Mark, welcome to Premier Banking, this is what you've got, etc, etc. And it pulled in all the data that was held in the data farm. So it's literally pulling a piece of data about me straight into that piece of video content, which was fantastic because it's very personal. You feel as if you're being spoken to directly, which is very good from a brand point of view.
I think there's going to be an interesting point of time where recommendations and algorithms need to start thinking about emotional preferences rather than just purely logical preferences. So I wonder when we're going to get to the world of emotional data.
Is that when technology is looking at your eye movements?
Yeah, as opposed to just purely, the numbers behind it. So.
Yeah, I think one thing I found really interesting was last year, and thinking about the future in 2020, I saw a talk from Robert Scoble, who is a big virtual reality enthusiast, and I asked him a couple of questions after his talk, and it was mainly around what the future of content and SEO search would be like, and his explanation was really interesting. So he was saying that you would wear a virtual reality headset and you would ask a question like, what is the best nightclub in this area? Rather than giving you a Google result, you will see the dance floor of say 3 different options of nightclubs that are near you, and you'll see like maybe even in real time what's happening right then, based on, as Claire was saying, your eye movements. If you're smiling and you react positively to that, it will tell which one you will like, it will show you directions, maybe prices, and to me this sounds so far advanced. But the early adopters are doing this right now, and we'll probably see it creep up on us. The next iPhone that's going to be launched at the end of this year will, by all accounts, be a virtual reality phone where headsets can connect with it, and that is supposed to be a game changer. So I think when you get into that for personalisation, that's going to be massive, because there's so much that you can do on the back of that. And the job for content, and in our case for SEO, will be how do you create the content that is triggered first? How do you be that recommendation that is being shown to you? And people will have to create that kind of 360 degree virtual reality style content that is the best answer to those questions.
I think the key is to think about the content you're going to make sure you maybe reduce it so you're only making the content that actually means something to people. Then people will start trusting your brand more because they'll start trusting the content you're coming out with rather than just churning out content. There was something I heard about brands creating more content in 2 days this year than they've ever created in 2003, which is crazy, because if you've not got something to say, then don't say it. Don't make a story, don't make a film. Wait till you've got something to talk about. You'll become more trusted in the long term and people will start respecting you a lot more, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I think the magic word, the one word that everyone has to keep in their vernacular is authenticity. So, you know, a brand can do a stunt or we can do a stunt for one day, but at the end of the day, back to the audience, because the audience is the customer.
I would just echo that, to be honest. I think that's been summed up really well. From my perspective, it's all about building the strongest audience you can, and if you're not authentic, you're going to struggle to be able to do that. So I think focus on the quality message that you have to tell, and the audience will follow. But otherwise, you might get some quick wins out of fake news, for example, and there's people doing that, but it's not really the way that you build any form of trust or long-term brands. So yeah, focus on your real audience, and I'm pretty sure you'd be rewarded for that.